Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews. I'm HorrorBoy465, aka Nate Murphy, the Explorer 4 here. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today talking about the Rob Zombie films, the Rob Zombie remake, which I have the theatrical and uncut versions of, and the sequel to the remake, Halloween 2. Now, I'll get to Halloween 2 maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll have time to review Halloween 2. I might, but maybe tomorrow. But then again, I might wrap up the reviews tonight. I'm not sure. But I'll be talking about in this video the first film, Halloween. Now, before I get into the video, two things. First of all, if you're a fan of this movie, that's totally fine. That's totally cool. It's totally awesome. Just personally, I'm not a fan of these movies. I'm not a fan of the granted different. I will say that yes, it's not a total ripoff of the first movie because it is a little bit different. As far as there's some details that are the same, but as far as Michael Myers being, the shape and being this sort of evil and darkness, dark character, and being more of a phantom type character. In this movie, he's more of just a regular serial killer, which is honestly like one of the problems with this movie. Is that Rob Zombie took this movie and approached it with, I guess, a realistic approach. And the reason I say I guess is because it's meant to be realistic, but sometimes I don't know. Now, with the amount of dialogue in this film, with the amount of cussing in this film, now it doesn't bother me in a horror movie if somebody cusses. I mean, everybody cusses. But when it becomes a problem, then, as far as dialogue goes, when about 90% or 100%, I would say even 100% of the dialogue is nothing but about a million. Every about line of dialogue has about, I don't know, 2 or 3 F-words, F-bombs, and then you got a couple of other cuss words in there. You got a big mix of cuss words and a lot of dialogue. When they can't say a dialogue sometimes without cussing, it gets kind of annoying. Now, like I said, it doesn't really bother me because I do get it. People cuss. I guess it's trying to be realistic. But I don't think cussing that much. And when it's getting to the point where, like I said, 90% of the dialogue is just F-bombs and all kinds of other cuss words, it got very annoying. Plus, for the way the movie's shot, it has a lot of shaky cam. In my opinion, there's not really much of the atmosphere, which surprised me because Rob Zombie's House 1000 Corpses, in my opinion, has a really good Halloween atmosphere. This movie, even though it's titled Halloween, I feel like Rob Zombie's House 1000 Corpses has a better Halloween atmosphere than this movie does. I'm sorry, personally, that's just what I think. I mean, the movie, first of all, I'm not a fan of the theatrical cut. I really am not. But would I say that it is a total piece of crap with nothing good? No, I would say the theatrical cut does have some good things to it. First of all, Tyler Mane, the guy who played Michael Myers in this film, did a really good job with Michael Myers. Very intense, playing a Michael Myers which is like 7 foot tall. I really like the way the mask looks, right there, like a really worn away mask. And the whole costume in general is just sort of like a worn away, version of the regular Michael Myers, costume or whatever. But it's more worn away in this movie. I like that because it made it different. Also gave it a newer look. Very, very cool looks with the mask of it being all rotten and stuff like that. And I even say that about Halloween 2. I mean, Halloween 2, the beginning of the movie's mask. I like the design for it because it has, this over here missing, and also it's very worn away. I don't know. In my opinion, it was one of those different ideas that I thought was pretty good. I like the idea of having more of a worn away costume in this movie. But before I get any more into the film, I did pick up some more DVDs that I wanted to show you guys. Picked up about 4 more movies here. Now, I went back to the DVD shop yesterday and picked up some more movies. I'm just gonna go through this real quick. But I picked up Night of the Creeps, which is a movie that I've seen and that I really enjoy. Really enjoy Night of the Creeps. Tom Atkins is in the film. Really big fan of Tom Atkins. Great actor. Does a great job in this movie. Actually, they got a line in the back here. Thrill me. Really cool line. Good cast. Good, practical effects. Reminds me a little bit of Slither, but this was before Slither, and it's still like a little bit more different than Slither. It's a little bit like this one's more about, I feel like Slither is more like zombie mutants, and here they're more just like zombies. But really good movie. Really enjoyed Night of the Creeps. Very good film. Really enjoyed Night of the Creeps. I also picked up Poltergeist, the original film. I now have Poltergeist, Poltergeist 2, and Poltergeist 3. I don't have the remake yet. I haven't heard the best things about the remake, but yeah, I picked up Poltergeist, which is a classic. Love Poltergeist. Picked up The Howling. Yes, I found The Howling finally. I haven't seen it yet. I do have Howling 3 and Howling Reborn, and I have another movie right here about to show next. But I was waiting to get the first movie and a couple other movies. I know they're on YouTube or something like that. But I was wanting to find the movies and get the whole franchise before I watched the movies. But I wasn't wanting to get the first movie for a while there, so I got The Howling, 1980, I believe, 1981. Heard it was pretty good. Comes with a booklet, very cool. Open it up, get some pictures in there. So yeah, I mean, I really want to see it. I've been interested in seeing it for a while, and yeah, The Howling. I also picked up the sequel, Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Back. I heard it was kind of I don't know, maybe a so bad it's good film. I think I've heard that it's so bad it's good. But yeah, Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Picked it up. So those are the movies I picked up. Just figure I'd show them real quick in this video. But now we're getting into the review of Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, like I said, this version, not a fan of. I don't totally hate, but I'm not a fan of it. But I do hate this version, the unrated version. This was the first DVD that I bought. This was the first version I had seen, and then I had bought this theatrical cut 2-disc set, which is a pretty cool set. Got some features in there. But I picked this up and I watched this, and in the past I said that this was okay, but really watching it again, there are some good things to it. The death scenes, the makeup effects, the look of Michael Myers in this film is pretty cool. But really, the more I think about it, also I think it has some pretty good music to it. But the cast, I'm not a fan of Malcolm McDowell in this film. I thought he did a great job in Clockwork Orange. He did a phenomenal job in that film. I've seen him in other movies. He's done better in other movies, but in this movie, I just don't think he works as Loomis, Dr. Loomis. I don't know. I just thought that he didn't really work as Dr. Loomis. Also, Scout Taylor Compton, I'm not a fan of her as Laurie because it totally, I guess, trying to be different, totally changed the Laurie character. In this movie, she's snotty, talking back to her mom by Dee Wallace, who was in this movie, The Howling. She's also in Cujo, and also she was in The Hills of Eyes original. But she's being really mouthy with her mom, mouthy with everybody. She's, acting like, just really mouthy, and just Scout Taylor Compton. I'm not a fan of her as Laurie. She's just, a lot more preppy, kind of. Just, I'm not a fan of her acting as well. Sometimes, whenever she starts panicking and screaming, the acting I thought was pretty bad. I'm not a fan of also the way the movie, like I said, the way the movie looks, the way the movie's shot. There's not much to it. A lot of shaky cam. And I don't like the idea that they tried to make Michael Myers just a normal killer. Because Michael Myers wasn't just your average killer. He was more of a phantom, possessed by darkness, total evil. He wasn't just your typical slasher. Yes, he wore a mask, and yes, he had a kitchen knife, but he was like a phantom. I mean, I really can't think of anything else to describe it, but he was more of a phantom, more of just a mysterious, you know, character who was just pure evil, who was the shape. Um, in this movie, it's just an average killer. I'm not a fan of that. I am not a fan of the prequel part of this film because you got a prequel part, which is about half the movie, and the other half is a remake, about half the movie, or about 30 to 40. I don't know, maybe half-ish, maybe just below half of the films as the prequel. It's also a pretty long movie. Trying to see the runtime here. It's not saying it right here. The movie is about an hour and 49 minutes. I think that's the theatrical cut. But even the theatrical cut can get very slow at times, especially when Michael Myers is in the mental institute. I get it. He's trying to show you how he transformed from Michael into this dark, killer. But it was kind of boring. All it really was Malcolm McDowell talking to Michael Myers. Michael Myers snaps and kills a nurse. There's just not much to it. And then you get to the remake portion, where Michael Myers is now older. He's a 7-foot dude played by Tyler Mane, which he did not Tyler Mane. I think it was. Oh yeah, it was Tyler Mane. Played by Tyler Mane. And Tyler Mane did a good job in this film, playing Michael Myers. I like the idea of him being like a 7-foot tall killer because it made it different. The mask, the outfit being all worn. Alright, different idea. But this is when we get into the remake portion. And I remember liking the remake portion, but watching it again, it really is just a little bit different, but most of it is ripping off the original movie. And I don't like that either. So you got a prequel, which is really different. Then you get to the remake portion of the movie, and it's a little bit different, but majority of the time it's really ripped off the first Halloween, which is really a shame because it's not done as good as it was in the first Halloween in this movie. But even though I'm not a fan of the theatrical cut, I hate the uncut version because the uncut version added so much unneeded footage. It says here, I'm trying to see how much the uncut version, like how long the uncut version is. But trying to see here, I don't know. It's not saying on here. But the uncut version, I'm not a fan of it because they add a rape scene in there. So many extended shots, so many longer scenes that were pointless, that were not needed. I don't really remember the remake portion having too much different. Maybe a little bit of stuff here and there. Also, there wasn't any added gore. There wasn't any added blood and anything like that. It's pretty much the same. So I mean, it is the unrated version, but I really didn't notice any more, gore or anything like that. But I hate this version because it's a longer version. At least it feels like it to me. It might not be, but to me, it feels like it's a much longer version. It drags a lot. They add a rape scene in there, and just the scene in general where these two guards, they bring in this other mental patient, she's like a girl, and they rape her right in front of Michael Myers, right in his room, right 3 feet away from Michael Myers. And they leave the door open, so Michael Myers, gets up, kills them, and thus he escapes. So the scene in general, and also you don't need a rape scene in the Halloween franchise. When I think of Halloween, I don't think of rape scenes. We did not need a rape scene in Halloween. That does not need to be in a Halloween film, and then it's also just the idea that they would just go into his cell and do that, and leave the door wide open, and and get 3 feet in front of him, right in front of him, and do this, and just the idea, and also just the fact that he put a rape scene in there. is ridiculous. You know, you don't need a rape scene in a Halloween movie. In a Halloween film, you don't need a rape scene. Now in the theatrical cut, I like that escape scene much better, where you have an appearance by Chop Top, um, which I just forgot his name, but Bill Moseley and a couple other people. I think it was actually also the sheriff character from House Thousand Corpses. And Michael Myers escapes, takes a guy, pushes his head against the wall, um, takes another person. I think like maybe rips their throat out. I think remember that part where he rips the throat out, and then takes another person, like shoves them over here, pretty much escapes. And I like that version much better because it wasn't as stupid as the freaking rape scene, and it just didn't need that. You really did not need a rape scene in a Halloween film. Um, but the story, I mean, I pretty much am already explaining it, but it's pretty much, it goes the same flow in both versions, where the beginning of the movie is a prequel. You're seeing Michael Myers when he was a kid, living this sort of, I don't know, really, I mean, it's supposed to be building him up, like how a serial killer gets made and stuff, but it really is the most cliche things you could think of. You think of any cliche thing about a serial killer, they do it in this film. Animal killing, a bad, household, or a bad, just altogether just a bad atmosphere. His mom is like a stripper. His sister, she, is kind of unlikable. She teases Michael Myers. She's always having sex. The stepdad, really mean to Michael Myers and mean to the mom, and that's another one of those scenes where you get like 1,000 f-bombs. Like, this is not even, why the freak is there this much cussing? Like I said, it doesn't bother me, but it annoys me because it doesn't bother me because of the fact that it's cuss words. It annoys me because every single line has to have an f-bomb, has to have an over-the-top cuss word in there, over-the-top dialogue, just some really over-the-top stuff that was not really necessary. It didn't add anything to the dialogue. It really just was unnecessary. You did not need 1,000 f-bombs in like one scene or two scenes. It just got really annoying. It was unnecessary, and it messed with the dialogue. It got over-the-top dialogue. But he goes to school. Michael Myers goes to school. He's getting bullied. See, they do every cliche thing. He's killing animals. And then he gets to where he kills his first victim, where he kills his bully, who's actually the kid from Spy Kids. And he plays a bully in this film. Which I'll give him this. He's really unlikable. He did a good job playing the bully. But once again, he got over top dialogue talking about how his dad is gonna go to the strip club and and mess around with Michael Myers' mom and stuff like that. And Michael Myers, he cusses at the principal, and then he pretty much says like "freak you." But Michael Myers, the school has found like pictures of dead animals and stuff. Then he kills his first victim, and then when he goes back, it's Halloween night. Kills his stepdad, kills his sister's boyfriend, and then kills his sister, but spares his baby sister, who would be Skylar Compton, Laurie Strode when she grows up. But Michael Myers goes to the mental institute. Malcolm McDowell just doesn't work as Loomis. Now, he's done really great performances in other films, like Clockwork Orange. He's been in a lot of movies where he did a good job. In this movie, though, especially in Halloween 2, he's not likable. I mean, his acting is pretty bad. I mean, and I was surprised because Malcolm McDowell is a good actor, but in this movie, just something about having Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Loomis just did not work. It felt awkward. It just didn't work. It really did not work. And his lines were very bad and over the top. And basically, it's at the hospital. He's talking to Michael Myers. Michael Myers starts making these paper masks and not talking at all. And then he ends up killing a nurse. Where this silly scene with the nurse, she's reading a newspaper, and then she literally turns around like this, and there's like a fork right there. Michael Myers comes up and stabs her, but she's like being mean to Michael Myers, and she turns around like this and reads a newspaper. I'm just thinking, like, who the freak does that? Who the freak would read a freaking newspaper and like turn around like that? It just seemed like it was very silly. And then, show Michael Myers growing up. He escapes the mental asylum. And then he ends up going back to Haddonfield. He ends up killing from Dawn of the Dead, Ken Foray. He ended up killing Ken Foray, who's playing this really over the top character, like an afro and stuff. And he goes like, trying to remember the dialogue. But whenever he sees Michael Myers, he's like, I'm going to cut that mask right off your face. And then Michael Myers, of course, attacks him and kills him, takes the overalls. And then he goes back to the Myers house. It's all abandoned. You got the same scene where Laurie Strode is walking with like Tommy Doyle character, and they go up to the house and drops the key off to the house. The same scene, some of the same shots. Only Scott Taylor Compton's being really annoying. Kind of like one of those OMG girls, really, really annoying. And then Michael Myers gets the mask. Really good scene. Like this scene right here. Michael Myers picks up the mask. The theme starts playing, which I love the soundtrack of this movie. Really good music in this movie. The music hits. Michael Myers stands up with the mask, puts the mask on, looks around, gets the knife, goes up to the door. The same shot where she puts like the key and like some mail in the door. Michael Myers takes the mail and like sniffs it. Some of the same stuff. You got Laurie sitting in class looking over, seeing Michael Myers, looks back over, he's gone. Laurie, just seeing him all over the place, like the original. Danielle Harris plays the Annie character. Danielle Harris from Halloween 4 and 5. She did a pretty good job in this movie playing sort of an OMG character. She's, the sheriff's daughter. But I could tell that she kind of had fun with the role, and she did a good job acting-wise, and you get to see her naked, which was, really cool. And, she, also, like I said, really, really hot. Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of weird. She's playing she's playing a character in this film that it's a different character, but it's really cool they got her back from Halloween 4 and 5. But Danielle Harris, I can tell she still plays like an OMG character, but she kind of had fun with the role. She had a better acting performance than Laurie, like the girl who played Laurie Strode, Scott Compton. Or the girl who played the other friend, the cheerleader friend, which once again it's like one of those, more like a tougher OMG girl, but still like an OMG girl. Like an OMG girl with like an edge to her, but I still didn't care about her character. Laurie Strode being mean, being mouthy with her mom, just acting like one of those OMG girls. And it's Halloween night. Some of the same stuff happens. The cheerleader girl, she and this other guy's having sex, and it's the Bob character, and and he puts the sheet on the glasses. Michael Myers, same thing, picks him up and stabs him. Only there's like no impact. There's no like cool lighting. Like in the background of that scene, is really cool lighting. It's shot very well. Here, it's just a rip off of it. Same thing, goes into the room with the sheet on. She asks for a beer. He doesn't give her a beer. She walks over to the phone. He walks up behind her. The same music plays. The Shape Stocks music plays. Comes behind her, strangles her to death, like the original movie. And Michael Myers goes towards where the Annie character is, and she's having sex. That's where we get to see Danielle Harris naked. And then Michael Myers kills her boyfriend. I think he stabs Daniel Harris's character, knocks her out. The Laurie Strode character, she comes across the street, finds the Annie character, gets chased with Michael Myers a little bit. Didn't mind the chase scene, pretty decent chase scene. Michael Myers also, before that, killed Laurie Strode's step parents, or foster parents, not step parents, or foster parents. But had also, like I said, he killed the foster parents. Then he killed the cheerleader. Then he went over to the Annie character's house, and then after that stuff happens, that's when the chase scene happens where he chases Laurie Strode. He chases Laurie Strode across the street. Some of the same stuff. She's banging on the door, begging Tommy to come to the door. Tommy gets there. She gets inside. Michael Myers breaks in. Kind of an intense scene. Michael Myers is chasing them throughout the house. Breaks through the door after killing like 2 cops. He comes to the house, kills like 2 cops. Gets Laurie Strode, takes her back underneath the Myers house. And this is where it's a little bit different. She unmasks him, and he unmasks himself, and then she doesn't really realize that what he's saying is that she is his sister. She stabs him. He gets back up, chases her. She falls into like an empty pool, which is like a stupid scene because she literally runs and falls into a freaking pool. And then Michael Myers gets shot like 6 times. By Michael McDowell. I think he's dead. He's not. Breaks through this car window. You have a little bit more different stuff where it's inside the house again, and Laurie Strode's in the ceiling. He breaks the ceiling through, and she gets the pistol from Malcolm McDowell, which gets his head crushed, but he's not dead. Gets the pistol, points at Michael Myers. Michael Myers runs, pushes out the window. They fall. There's only 1 bolt left in the chamber. Shoots Michael Myers in the head, then she screams, and the movie ends. That's pretty much the ending of the film. And things I liked about the movie has, like I said, a decent, actually a really good score. Didn't mind the look of Michael Myers. Pretty cool. Look for Michael Myers. Trying to think. It has bad acting, it has a bad atmosphere, it's not shot well, a lot of shaky cam. Death scenes are pretty decent. Some people get stabbed, mostly just get stabbed. The beginning of the movie where Michael Myers breaks out, kills people, pretty decent makeup effects. I'm just not a fan of how it's, I guess, trying to be realistic. That's what Rob Zombie was going for, more of a realistic approach, but I don't know, the over-the-top dialogue, unlikable characters. I mean, the acting is pretty bad. It's over the top. F-bombs every single scene, and like 1,000 F-bombs every single scene. Just not a good movie in my opinion. I'm just not a fan of it. It's just not a remake. I'm not a fan of this remake. Can't talk tonight for some reason, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of this remake. It's a remake that I don't enjoy. I'm not a fan of. I just think that it was okay, but watching it anymore, I get bored by it. I don't like the characters. I don't like the acting. I don't like the shaky cam and stuff like that. But it does have a good score. It is trying to be different. I can appreciate that. Really enough, though, there's not much good to this movie. I mean, it has a good soundtrack. It tries to be different. But it's still, I mean, majority of the remake portion does rip off the original movie. And it doesn't, it tries to be, I guess, realistic and trying to be a little bit different, but still majority of the remake, it still rips off scenes from the first movie. Like, the chase scene, the scene where the Bob character comes in and gets, a knife stuck through him and he goes and hangs on the wall. The scene where Michael Myers puts the sheet on and then strangles the cheerleader character. I mean, it's the same stuff. But it's just a remake that I'm not a fan of, and I don't hate it as much as the sequel. The sequel freaking sucks. It's awful, stupid, silly, goofy sequel. Which this one, I can do that too. And I can do... See, this is the uncut version. I can do that to that. But to this version, I'll still punch it. I mean, it's still pretty bad. But you know, I mean, it's still pretty bad. But I'm not a fan of it. But it's not. I don't hate it as much as Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and as much as the uncut version of the first remake. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my rant on Rob Zombie's Halloween. Like I said, it's just not a movie that it's just a movie that I'm not personally a fan of. It's a movie that I don't like. It's a movie that I'm just not a fan of. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review on my rant on Rob Zombie's Halloween. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.